Hey y'all, Editor Renew here. Just letting y'all know I'm live at twitch.tv/RenewItTV if you're watching this video within 4 hours of its release. So come stop by, say hi. Love to see you there. The stream has been popping recently, so you know, come be a part of the whole community we got going over there. Also, I just want to say that according to my YouTube analytics, a whopping 96% of you aren't subscribed. So if you enjoy the content and want to see more, feel free to hit that shiny red button. Thanks, and enjoy the video. Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Renew here. So, today, I'm trying to help out some of you lower level players that are just getting into the game, looking for tips and tricks on how to gain trophies, get your first legendary, which is at, I believe, 1900 trophies. Let me check here. 1950. Alright, so right on the cusp of 2000. How are you going to get 2000 trophies without a legendary? Well, let me show you. This is essentially the deck that I was running as I was leveling up. Definitely had Plague Doctor there. Awesome. So basically, when you're starting off, let's see, the deck you start off with is super basic. It's Archer, Ice Whiz, Fire Whiz, Lightning Whiz, and Poisoner, I believe. You know, this is, I mean, it's the starter deck. It's not meant to be good. Every single one of these cards besides Ice Mage is a damage card. It is meant to do damage. Some of them do AoE like the lightning and the fire. Some of them do damage over time like the poison. And some just target the front like the archer. However, it doesn't have any finesse to it. You just place the cards down and then you either win or you lose. And, you know, there's no mana generation. There's really no skill to it. You just... It's a solid 50-50 when everyone's playing this deck, whether you win or lose. You can't really outplay your opponents too well. Alright, so the very first thing that I did when I started playing was I basically played until I got... until I got the Engineer. Now, the Engineer is one of the strongest cards in the entire game. Even at my trophy range, I'm at 5,300 trophies and he is still used in almost every match, it seems. There are, in my opinion, about 3 win conditions in this game that are viable. That would be Boreas, Engineer, Inquisitor. 2 out of 3 of those are legendaries, and one of them you can get in the first arena. So, Engineer is going to be your main way of leveling up. So, right now, the worst card in this deck is Poisoner. Get Poisoner out of here. Adios. Alright. And then I believe after that, I decided, you know, I got some other damage cards. I think I got Sharpshooter, this guy right here. He does more damage to bosses and mini bosses. And I was like, okay, cool. So I'm having my Engineers attack the front. This guy's attacking the guy with the highest health, you know, doing a little bit of damage for me. And I decided to replace one of my AoE characters with that, right? So because we have Fire Whiz and Lightning Whiz, I figured, well, I don't need 2 AoEs in this deck. That's a little overkill, right? So I get rid of the Lightning Wizard. I prefer the Fire Wizard over Lightning Wizard. I'm not really sure why. Maybe it's because we're running Cold Mage still, and Cold Mage clumps the targets together real good for you. And then lets the Fire Wiz do a little bit more than the Lightning Mage does. Alright, and then after that, oh, I got this new card. It's called Priestess. Gives mana when merged or killed. Now, it only generates 80 mana, which doesn't seem like a whole lot. But that is 80 mana that your enemy does not have. So, obviously I put that in my deck. Bye-bye Archer. We don't need Archer. We have enough damage right now. We've got Engineer for our front damage, which is really what Archer does best, right? Like, that's what Archer does, is it just attacks the front, it attacks pretty quick. That's about it. Engineer is here. We don't need Archer anymore. Awesome. So now I've got this guy to attack front, make sure we kill all the small units. This guy to burst down those big units for me. I've got the Fire Mage to help get started on those units that aren't in the front, but you know, get a little bit of AoE. This guy to slow it all down so that we have more time to kill everything. and this for more mana generation so we can get more cards out on the field, right? All right, after that, you might get Mime here. Mime seems like it's pretty bad. So its whole concept is you can merge it with any card, and it'll just be like a normal merge. So if I were to merge two engineers, it would transform into one of my 5 cards, right? Yeah, so you can merge a Mime and an engineer, and the same thing would happen, right? So this Mime seems kind of bad. Except for, we still have this Priestess, okay? And the issue with Priestess is she really doesn't do a whole lot when she's actually on the field. You want to kill her as soon as possible. So, you want to have that Mime so that if you get a Priestess and you get a Mime, you don't have to wait for another Priestess. You can just kill that Priestess immediately and get the mana as soon as you can, right? So this is kind of the start of our deck. I really liked the Cold Mage. It helped slow things down when we didn't have enough damage. But eventually, and this is a guaranteed unlock, most of these cards you get guaranteed while you're climbing the ladder. You get the Plague Doctor. And the Plague Doctor is all of your AoE until 2,000 trophies. It's fantastic. So, this is kind of the deck we've got going so far. You could take out Sharpshooter if you're not feeling it. But it's a good source of damage for early trophy pushes. And basically, you're just trying to get to 1,900 trophies with this deck. Now, however, I would recommend if you get Vampire, replace Priestess with Vampire. That way, well, first off, Vampire generates just a lot more mana than Priestess does. See, at max tier, he generates 13 mana per enemy that spawns, which is ridiculous. It's super good card right now. So yeah, immediately replace Priestess with Vampire if you can, and then without the Priestess, there's really no need for a Mime in this deck, so you can also get rid of that Mime. For that, I would probably go with a Portal Keeper. Portal Keeper isn't super good on his own, but in combination with Engineer, you can basically teleport the Engineers to be right next to each other so they get that damage boost that the Engineer is known for. If you guys didn't know, every time an Engineer is interlocked, it increases the damage by this damage increase number, and that number changes based on the level of Engineer. My Engineer is level 11, so it might be a little higher than yours, but if you max out Engineer, I think at even the lowest level, it's a 20% increase per Engineer that is connected. So with this Portal Keeper, you can really link those Engineers up very well, and it's fantastic. All right, and then you really just play until you get your first legendary. After you get that first legendary, I would basically judge from there how well you think you can do with said legendary. I have heard of people restarting their accounts because they didn't get what they wanted. Really, what you want from that first legendary is Boreas. It's unfortunate that he is as good as he is because it makes you feel like you didn't get a powerful card when you don't get him. But honestly, what I would do is I would peek into the 2,000 trophy range, because at 2,000 trophies, you unlock Dryad and Demon Hunter. Dryad is a very strong card for upgrading those Engineers without having to move them around and merge them. What Dryad does is when you merge it onto an enemy or onto a target, it basically guarantees it. So you can merge it. I could do a level 1 Dryad with a level 1 Engineer, and it'll guarantee that it turns into a level 2 Engineer. So it gives you a lot of control over your deck and which troops that you want to keep. It helps a lot. That's a very good starting legendary. So if you get that, that's very good. Really, Dryad and Boreas are the legendaries that you want to start off with. If you miss out on those, you can either choose to restart your account, or you can grind out 40,000 gold and wait for a legendary to show up in your shop, because that can happen. or you can wait until you get to level 53 on the battle pass, because at level 53 you get a guaranteed legendary, and then at level 100 you get another, like 103 you get another guaranteed legendary. So there are ways to get legendaries besides that first 1900 trophy one, but that is the most consistent way. It takes about 7 hours to grind that 2000 trophies out. So yeah, I've had people in my Twitch chat say that they've restarted their account 20 plus times just waiting to get Boreas. That is obviously an extremely unlucky scenario that won't happen to most people, but yeah, sometimes that's just what you got to do, especially if you want to run free to play. Obviously, if you're willing to drop some money on the game, there are package deals that guarantee a certain legendary from them. I think they're anywhere from like $10 to $25. So if you do have a little bit of money and you want to support the devs, you can. I obviously have spent some money. As you can see, I have 2 level 9 legendaries at the moment, being Inquisitor and Summoner. I love the level 9 Inquisitor, guys, first off. If y'all haven't seen my video about him, I would highly recommend it. So yeah, this is like the epitome of an early game, no legendary deck. So I would give this a try. Maybe replace Sharpshooter here with some sort of stun, so you can run Bombardier. She is very, very strong right now. I don't know why I call her a she. It's because of the bandana. It looks like hair. Okay, anyway. And then, or you can run Cold Mage again. Cold Mage is relatively strong as well. Bombardier has a chance to stun the enemy multiple times. That's why it's so strong. So it can stun lock bosses for long enough to where you can kill them before they get their ability off, which is very, very strong against bosses like Bedlam and Warlock too as well. Gorgon, not so much. What's his face? The Tamer, not so much Tamer, but you know, and Tribunal always gets his ability off, so you won't be able to stun through that. But specifically Bedlam Bombardier is very strong against. So there are also a few other good cards. Chemist, very strong right now. It boosts your damage of all your troops by 46% basically, as long as it's attacked each enemy, so it's a debuff unit, so it applies that debuff effect much like the Plague Doctor does. So yeah, you can use that in place of the Sharpshooter because it does a lot of the same thing where it increases your damage to enemies. But the only issue with this deck right now is when you spawn in your troops at the beginning, there is a chance that you'll just get like a Vampire, Plague Doctor, Portal Master, and a Chemist, and then you'll just lose, right? Because none of those really do enough damage. So with this specific deck, you would really need to get an Engineer early game. But if you're running Sharpshooter, it'll increase your consistency. It'll increase your consistency, but it'll lower your overall power throughout the game. So really it's just your call, however you prefer to play. If you want to get like super late game, I would go with Chemist. If you want to make sure you can play every game, then I would go with Sharpshooter. But you know, I would just yeah, go with this. Eventually you do want to replace Portal Keeper. If you ever get Harlequin is a very, very good replacement for Portal Keeper, because Portal Keeper doesn't really do anything besides transfer the engineers around, so it's a little weak sometimes, but it's very helpful early game when you're trying to connect those engineers. All right, boys. That's about all the advice I can give you early game. I know it was a lot of information, but I really appreciate y'all sticking around with me. Thanks for coming out, everybody. I really appreciate all the support I've gotten on my YouTube recently. Please feel free to drop a subscription, leave a comment saying if this video helped you out, if you enjoyed it, what kind of content you want from me in the future. I've been running a lot of meme decks. I've been having so much fun on Twitch doing like chest openings and things. So if you'd like to stop by over there, feel free. Yeah, if you want to see some like late game co-op stuff, me and Chum hit wave 55 the other day, which was an awesome thing. And I think me and him are actually going to grind to try to beat the world record, which is 55, by beating that Bedlam with Well, I don't want to give away the strategy, so if you see the YouTube video for it, I highly recommend you click on it. Thanks everyone for coming out, and I will see you next time.